Hidden wonders of nature, places you must see. Imagine a place where a giant rock hangs over a precipice, and every step towards it makes you dizzy. Imagine a lake with water so turquoise that it's hard to believe that it was created by nature and not a computer graphic. Think of a town suspended between mountains and a lake that looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale. Or a mysterious island where the mists hide legends from centuries ago, and the landscapes could serve as a backdrop for a fantasy film. Or maybe you've ever seen a lake that shimmers with all the colors of the rainbow, like the work of an abstract painter. Today I'm taking you on a journey through 8 extraordinary wonders of nature. Places so incredible that many consider them unreal until they see them with their own eyes. I invite you to another episode of Unknown Tales Files. Isle of Skye, the mysterious Isle of Mists, Scotland. Far to the north of Great Britain, surrounded by the turbulent waters of the Atlantic, lies an island whose beauty has captured the imagination for centuries. Welcome to the Isle of Skye, or the Isle of Mists. The island is the largest of Scotland's Inner Hebrides, but its size isn't the most impressive thing about it. It's the landscapes of the Isle of Skye that make visitors feel like they're characters in mythical tales. Rugged cliffs rising high above the stormy sea, mysterious mountains shrouded in near-constant mist, and rock formations that look as if they were carved by the hand of a giant. The most extraordinary place on the island is the Old Man of Storr, a huge rock standing like a guardian of the land, visible from afar, shrouded in mists that give it an aura of mysticism. Legend has it that it is a petrified giant that fell asleep forever, watching over the secrets of the island. Others believe it is the work of the old gods who left their marks here. Nearby are the fairy pools, magical waterfalls, and crystal-clear lakes, the waters of which are an extraordinary blue emerald color. The locals believe that bathing in these waters brings good luck, although the water temperature, even in summer, can cause shivers. Skye is also home to legends of fairies, ghosts, and strange creatures that are said to inhabit its forests and mountains. When wandering around these areas, it's easy to believe that somewhere beyond the mists, there's more than just beautiful views. The Isle of Skye is not just an island, it is a living painting, a mystery hidden in stone, water, and mists that hide it from the world. It is a place that everyone should see at least once in their life. Lago di Braies, the hidden pearl of the Italian Alps. Far in the north of Italy, hidden among the alpine peaks, lies a lake whose sight takes your breath away. This is Lago di Braies, a jewel of the Dolomites, surrounded by steep, mighty mountains whose peaks seem to almost touch the sky. The water in this lake is incredibly clean, and its color changes with the weather and time of day. At dawn, it takes on pastel shades of blue, while in the midday sun, it takes on an intense emerald color. A picturesque path runs around the lake, leading through pine forests and wooden footbridges that allow you to look directly at the reflection of the mountains in the still surface. Lake Braies is also a place full of history. Once an important trade route ran through here, connecting the north and south of Europe. Locals tell a legend that there is a hidden treasure at the bottom of the lake, protected by the ancient spirits of the mountains. Anyone who tried to find the treasure disappeared without a trace, and the lake is said to still hold a secret. During World War II, the lake witnessed dramatic events. It was here that political prisoners were allegedly smuggled, and secret meetings of the resistance movement were held. Today, however, Lago di Braies is primarily associated with peace, quiet, and the extraordinary beauty of nature. Even the most hardened travelers admit that Lago di Braies is a special place. When you look at the calm water reflecting the alpine peaks, you get the impression that time has stopped, and the outside world has ceased to exist. It is not without reason that many films and series have been filmed here. Nature itself has created the best scenery. If you want silence, beauty, and a moment captured in a frame, Lago di Braies is a place you simply must visit. Hallstatt, a fairy tale town in the heart of Austria. In the Salzburg Alps, on the steep shores of Lake Hallstatt, lies one of the most picturesque places in Europe, Hallstatt. This small town, with less than 1,000 inhabitants, has been enchanting for centuries with its fairy tale scenery and unique location, which seems almost impossible. The first glimpse of Hallstatt resembles an illustration from a children's book. Wooden houses decorated with colorful flowers, cling to the steep slopes so tightly that they almost overlap. The streets wind between the buildings, climbing steeply to the top, where there is a historic church with a bell tower that dominates the entire area. When evening comes, and the lights of the houses reflect in the calm waters of the lake, Hallstatt becomes downright magical. However, the beauty of Hallstatt is not only the views, it is also an extraordinary history. More than 7,000 years ago, people settled here, extracting salt from nearby mines, which are among the oldest in the world. Thanks to salt, Hallstatt developed quickly, and the fame of this place reached the farthest corners of the continent. Archaeological discoveries in the area around the town have revealed the existence of a unique civilization called the Hallstatt culture, which flourished here more than 2,000 years ago. Interestingly, Hallstatt's popularity is so huge that a nearly perfect copy was built in China as a sign of their fascination with the Austrian town. Despite this, the real Hallstatt still retains its unique character and atmosphere, which is impossible to recreate. Walking through Hallstatt, you can't help but feel like you've stepped into another era, a world where peace, nature, and history coexist perfectly. No wonder the town has been added to the UNESCO World Heritage List, delighting generations of tourists with its unique atmosphere. Zakopane and the Tatra Mountains, Polish wonders in the heart of Europe. In the heart of Europe, in southern Poland, there is a unique place, Zakopane. Surrounded by the majestic peaks of the Tatra Mountains, it is sometimes called the winter capital of Poland. However, the beauty of this region goes far beyond the ski season, and its history and culture make Zakopane one of the most extraordinary places on the map of Europe. The Tatras, the highest mountains in Poland, create extraordinary scenery. Sharp peaks, valleys covered with dense forests, and ponds with crystal clear water create a landscape that delights travelers regardless of the season. Morskie Oko is particularly extraordinary, a lake located at the foot of high peaks, which owes its name to the legend that the lake has no bottom and is connected to the sea. Zakopane is not only about mountains, but also about the fascinating highland culture that has survived here for hundreds of years, almost unchanged. Characteristic wooden houses with pointed roofs, hand-decorated folk costumes, music and local cuisine make visitors feel like they are in a completely different world. The locals, the Highlanders, are famous for their openness, hospitality, but also for their persistence and courage, traits necessary to survive in difficult high mountain conditions. Tatra legends tell of mysterious figures, mountain spirits, and even hidden treasures that have been guarded by mountain demons for centuries. One of the most famous is the story of sleeping knights, who are said to wake up when Poland needs them the most. These knights are said to be waiting somewhere under Giewont, a famous peak with a characteristic shape resembling a sleeping man. Zakopane attracts not only nature lovers, but also people looking for secrets, legends, and an extraordinary atmosphere that cannot be found anywhere else. No wonder that it is here that artists, poets, and musicians have sought inspiration for centuries, finding in these mountains the true soul of Poland. Mont Saint-Michel, the French island of secrets. On the coast of Normandy, on the border of sea and land, there is a place that has inspired wonder and admiration for centuries. Mont Saint-Michel, a lonely island with a mighty abbey built on its peak, seems to be a living fragment of medieval legends. The island, although small, can change its character several times a day. This is all due to the extremely strong tides, which can completely cut it off from the mainland within a few hours. Centuries ago, only a few pilgrims dared to walk through the dangerous, quickly flooded marshes to reach the sanctuary of St. Michael. Construction of the abbey began in the 8th century, and over the following centuries the complex grew, attracting pilgrims, scholars, and rulers. The stone walls, towers, and Gothic vaults today arouse admiration not only for their architecture, but also for the imagination of the creators who were able to erect such a monument on a rugged, rocky island. Mont Saint-Michel holds many secrets. For centuries, it has been not only a place of prayer, but also a fortress, a prison, and a symbol of man's unyielding struggle with the forces of nature. It is said that among the misty corridors, you can hear the echoes of old prayers, and during high tide, when the water tightly surrounds the island, the whole thing looks like a castle floating on the sea. One local legend has it that Saint Michael himself chose this place for his stronghold, appearing to the local bishop in a dream and ordering the construction of an abbey. Since then, Mont Saint-Michel has continued to fascinate and inspire as a symbol of unwavering faith, perseverance, and the extraordinary power of nature. Walking through the narrow streets of the island, you can feel how history intertwines with nature, creating one of the most unique places in the world. Dolomites, a rock paradise in northern Italy. In the northern part of Italy, like rock cathedrals rising towards the sky, the Dolomites rise, a mountain range considered one of the most beautiful in the world. Their majestic peaks, steep walls, and deep valleys create a landscape that resembles the worlds known from ancient legends and myths. The Dolomites owe their extraordinary beauty to their distinctive geological structure. Rocks made of dolomite, a mineral containing calcium and magnesium carbonate, take on light gray shades, which during sunrises and sunsets turn into fiery colors, from pink through orange to intense red. This light show, locally called Enrosadira, makes the mountains seem to come alive. The heart of the Dolomites is the extraordinary formations, such as the Tre Cime di Lavaredo, three towering rock spires that are an icon of the region. Other famous sites include the Marmolada Massif, the highest peak in the Dolomites, and the vast meadows of the Alpi di Siusi, where green hills contrast with monumental cliffs. The Dolomites are not just a place for climbers and nature lovers, however. For centuries, these areas were the scene of dramatic events, especially during World War I, when tunnels and fortifications were carved into the rock walls, traces of which can still be admired today. The inhabitants of the Dolomites, linked to this harsh landscape for generations, cultivate rich traditions, music, and cuisine dominated by simple, hearty dishes prepared from local products. Today, the Dolomites are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and their extraordinary beauty attracts artists, travelers, and photographers from all over the world. Walking along their paths, it is hard to resist the impression that we have found ourselves in a place where nature has been creating its most perfect work for centuries. Preikestolen, a Norwegian rock shelf above a precipice. On the west coast of Norway, high above the blue waters of the Fjord, rises one of the most spectacular rock formations in Europe. Preikestolen, also known as Pulpit Rock. It is an almost perfectly flat rock platform, about 25 by 25 meters, which breaks off in a vertical wall, dropping more than 600 meters down. The path to Preikestolen leads through rocky paths, winding trails, and stone shelves. But every step of effort is rewarded with views that take your breath away. At the top, a true miracle of nature awaits, a place where one can feel as if suspended between heaven and earth. According to local legends, Pulpit Rock was formed as a result of an ancient battle of giants, who split the mountains into massive fragments in an eternal battle. For generations, locals have passed down stories of the spirits that inhabit the fjords and the hidden powers of nature that guard this extraordinary rock shelf. Despite the lack of protection on the edge, Preikestolen attracts tens of thousands of brave hikers every year who want to stand on its shore and look out into the endless space. The view from this place, especially at sunrise, remains in the memory for a lifetime. The sea of clouds, slowly revealing the surface of the fjord, creates an image so beautiful that it seems unreal. Preikestolen is not only a sight to behold, it is a majestic rock that inspires respect for nature. Anyone who stands on its edge experiences a moment of silence, humility, and true awe of the world. Grand Prismatic Spring, earth colors in Yellowstone. In the heart of Yellowstone National Park, hidden among endless plains and forests, lies a natural wonder that looks more like the work of a surrealist artist than a geological phenomenon. The Grand Prismatic Spring, the largest hot spring in the United States and the third largest in the world, dazzles with its incredible palette of colors that attracts millions of visitors each year. When viewed from above, you can see concentric rings of color, deep blue in the center, surrounded by bands of green, yellow, orange, and intense red. These unusual colors are not a coincidence. They are caused by different species of thermophilic bacteria that live in extreme temperatures, creating natural images that change with the seasons. The Grand Prismatic Spring has a diameter of over 70 meters and a depth of about 50 meters. The water, rising as steam above the spring, creates a phenomenal mist that further enhances the impression of being in a place like from another world. The spring was discovered in the 1860s, and its unusual appearance quickly gained fame among scientists and travelers. However, the indigenous tribes inhabiting the Yellowstone area knew about this place much earlier, treating it with great reverence as a sacred space associated with the forces of earth and fire. Today, the Grand Prismatic Spring remains one of Yellowstone's most iconic sights, a reminder of just how extraordinary and powerful nature can be. Walking along the specially marked paths around the spring feels like walking on the edge of the world, where the earth itself paints its own pictures. Each of these places is proof of nature's infinite imagination. From rock cathedrals, through fairytale towns, to multicolored springs, the world around us still holds wonders just waiting to be discovered. And which of these extraordinary places delighted you the most? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe if you want, and see you in the next episode.